Movie Brother tells the story of a simple Russian guy, Danila Bagrov, Sergei Bodrov Jr., who returns from the army to his small town. His mother believes that Danila should go to St. Petersburg, where his older brother Viktor Sokorakov, lives, and Danila agrees to try his luck in the metropolis. Upon arriving in St. Petersburg, Danila discovers that Viktor has become a bandit and a hired killer nicknamed Tatarin. The criminal authority crudely gives Viktor the task of killing a certain Chechen, the owner of the market. Krugli himself plans to kill Viktor when he completes his task, but Viktor begins to suspect something is wrong. He asks Danila to take care of it instead of him, and Danila agrees. He successfully completes the task, but falls into an ambush set up by Krugli's men and, seriously wounded, escapes from them on a freight tram, where he is helped by Svetlana, a train conductor. Danila is nursed back to health by his friend, German Hoffman, Yuri Kuznetsov, a market trader whom Danila once saved from racketeers, and after some time Danila recovers from his injury. But soon Viktor calls him again and asks him to perform another task for him. Danila agrees again to help his brother, but at the scene of the crime he releases an important witness, and now the bandits begin to hunt him and his brother. They take Viktor hostage in his own apartment and ask him to bring Danila to them by fraudulent means. Viktor calls his brother and asks him to come and collect the money owed to him for the murder, but from his voice Danila understands that something is wrong. Arriving at his brother's apartment, he deals with the bandits and frees Viktor, who realizes that he is dealing with a real professional and tries to explain to him that his betrayal was forced. Danila does not hold a grudge against his brother because he believes that life in the big city has had a bad influence on him. He realizes that he can no longer stay in St. Petersburg and, after collecting money for murders, goes to Moscow. Criminal authority Alek Murtazev is released from prison after someone paid bail for him. His wife Natalia, daughter Dina, and stepdaughter Sveta are waiting for him on the outside. The latter two, due to differences in character and age, Dina is 8 years old and Sveta is 13, and the involvement of Dina's father in crime cannot find a common language. Sveta, who grew up without a father, is sharp-tongued, closed, disciplined, and engaged in shooting because she wants to enlist as a sniper in Chechnya in the future. Dina, on the other hand, is a creative nature, plays the violin, loves to draw, sociable, curious, but at the same time spoiled and willful. Instead of a warm welcome from his former accomplices and associates, Murtazev receives an accusation because after his arrest they seized the common fund, the loss of which he now has to compensate. The bandits threaten to kidnap Dina if he does not return the money. Murtazev does not consider himself obliged to return anything, but for safety reasons he hides his daughters in someone else's apartment, entrusting Sveta to look after Dina. Ignoring Alek's ban on phone calls, Sveta gives away their location with Dina to the bandits one, and the sisters quickly hide from them. Assuming that returning home is also dangerous, the sisters get on the train and go out of town to a remote village where Aunt Zoya lives, mom's sister. But the aunt and her family, knowing about Alek's activities, refuse to let the girls in, fearing the bandits. For a couple of days, the sisters live in the country house of Sveta's friend Lisha's parents. Sveta tries to call home, but the parents do not pick up the phone because of the fear of wiretapping. Then she calls Lisha from the station, asks him to come, bring food and money. While the girls are waiting for Lisha, the bandits, who figured out where the call was made, set fire to the cottage in their absence. But Lisha was not upset. It turned out that the girls got into the wrong house, and Lisha's cottage remained intact. The girls are forced to beg and live with the gypsies until they are brought to the police. It turns out that the parents left a statement on the search, but the bandits come by phone. The policeman, learning about the abduction attempt, hides the girls from his acquaintance and alcoholic Cephalin, possibly, according to the girls and bandits, to get a reward from Alek for them. Sveta gets sick. Dina takes care of her sister as best she can, goes to the pharmacy and meets Zoya there, and tells her her current location. Meanwhile, the bandits set up an ambush for the policeman and begin to interrogate him cruelly about the children. Not achieving anything, they kill him and again go on the trail of the girls. In turn, Murtazev, arriving at the shootout on the return of the common fund, successfully avoids the shooting, himself killing the bandits and taking their car, because his car was shot by the bandits, and after that quickly finds the children, one step ahead of the competing bandits. In the shootout, the bandits and Cephalin are killed, and the girls are saved. Alec and Natalia eventually decide to move with Dina to a permanent place of residence in Austria to hide there. Sveta stays. The girls, who became close as a result of the hardships they experienced together and sincerely loved each other, part with each other with pain, hoping to meet again someday. Artyom, a professor of scientific atheism at the Leningrad State University, is visiting his brother in a small town of Leninsk. There he is introduced to his niece's boyfriend Valerie. Valerie and Artyom's niece go off to a party, while Artyom starts on his way back to Leningrad. On the outskirts of town, Artyom's car breaks down, forcing him to go to an isolated farmhouse to try to get help. There he meets the farmhouse owner Aleksei, Aleksei's wife Antonina, a Vietnamese worker who goes by the name Sunika, and a stranger who is not explained at the time. Artyom and Aleksei consume large quantities of moonshine alcohol while arguing about faith in God and retribution from sins, the professor defending the Soviet atheist worldview. Vietnamese worker Sunika, who seems to be practically a personal slave of Aleksei's, fixes Artyom's car and the professor drives on. However, realizing how drunk he is, Artyom decides to go back to his brother's house. It turns out that Artyom's niece did not go to the party, so Valerie went to a concert by himself. At the concert, Valerie hangs out with Angelica, another female student friend of his who is a daughter of a high-ranking Communist Party official. They get drunk together, and after the party is over, Valerie drives with her to a farm of moonshiners in search of more alcohol. The moonshiner turns out to be the same Aleksei whom Artyom had encountered earlier. Valerie tells Angelica to stay in the car while he gets the alcohol. However, instead of returning directly to the car, he gets drunk senseless with the moonshiner, Aleksei. Angelica, waiting in the car, notices that she is being watched by a strange man. She gets scared and tries to get help from the moonshiner's wife Antonina. Antonina hands the girl a shotgun and hides her in a barn. The stranger enters the barn, declares that he is a police officer, Captain Zurov, and takes away the gun. When Sunika tries to defend the girl, Captain Zurov murders him, then rapes the girl with a glass bottle. It appears that he himself is impotent. In the morning, he handcuffs her, puts her on a police motorcycle, and takes her to his apartment where he lives with his deranged alcoholic mother. Zurov handcuffs Angelica to the bed frame in his bedroom and start to bring jail inmates in to rape her as he himself watches. When he decides that one of the criminals fails to please the girl, he kills him. The girl threatens that her fiancé, who is an army paratrooper, will save her. Captain Zurov finds out, however, that her fiancé had just been killed in Afghanistan. He arranges to have the zinc-lined coffin shipped to his apartment, where he opens it and throws the corpse on the bed next to the screaming girl. Aleksei the moonshiner is arrested for the murder of his worker Sunika. Captain Zurov visits Aleksei in his cell and convinces him to take the blame for the crime in return for some unexplained earlier favors. Aleksei gets a visit from his wife Antonina and tells her not to worry. Antonina meets Artyom, the professor whose testimony might exonerate her husband, but Artyom refuses to testify since that would jeopardize his academic career. Aleksei is convicted, sentenced to the death penalty, and summarily executed. Antonina takes the shotgun and goes to Zurov's apartment, where she encounters Angelica still chained to the bed next to the rotting corpses. She shoots and kills Zurov, then walks out without attempting to help the screaming girl. Artyom enters a church and asks to be baptized. In the last scenes, Valerie, who managed to keep a low profile through the entire affair, is shown discussing business propositions with Artyom's son, Slava. The two are excited about the amount of money that can be made in the disintegrating country. The film flashes to Nizhny Novgorod in 1995, to an interrogation scene between a torturer, nicknamed the X, and the torturer has been shot in the stomach. The leader of the masked men takes off his disguise, and it is revealed that he is a police officer, nicknamed the Stepan takes a piece of paper from the torturer's pocket and seems excited by what he reads on it. The film then introduces the audience to three gangsters. Smoking cigarettes at a football stadium, the trio discusses their current lack of jobs due to an operation a month ago that ended in a bloodbath, forcing the group to lay low. The two ethnically Russian men in the group, Korin and Bala, consistently make fun of Baklazan, eggplant, because of his African ethnicity, even though he was born in Russia. The other two seemingly refuse to accept he is a Russian and insist on calling him Ethiopian. Sergei Mihailovich, usually referred to as Mikhailik, a local crime boss who controls the drug trade in the city. Upon learning that a visiting chemist nicknamed the Doctor has established a drug lab in the neighborhood, Mikhailik sends Simon and Sergei to intimidate the Doctor to start paying protection money. When the two see Mikhailik, he is furious. He takes the drugs and orders him to leave his sight. They drive to a bar and hope he will forgive them, who forces him into a closet and shoots him through the door. Mozg, still tied up, begins to threaten and swear named Lyoshik, who is a medical student. Lyoshik takes a hit of cocaine and pulls out a medical textbook, then takes the bullet out of Sergei. Meanwhile, he returns the folder to Sergei and they leave the apartment. Recalling their conversation with Cabin, Sergei and Simon decide to flee to Moscow and stop working for Mikhailik. Son Vladik works for the duo as an errand boy. Looking back, Sergei tells Simon that he thinks that Cabin ripped them off when buying the heroin from them. Simon objects and says that there is no need to kill Cabin, to which Sergei agrees. It has become more difficult.
The story is about the journey of 5 people to the mystical Bell Tower of Happiness, which, according to rumors, is located in a specific area, somewhere near St. Petersburg, referred to as a zone, where there is a high level of radiation, and the local population died in an instant. The Bell Tower accepts not everyone and no one ever returned from this zone. So, 5 very different people, a musician, a bandit, his friend alcoholic Matvey, old man father of Matvey, as well as a female prostitute Luba, picked up on the road, who does not care where to go to this mysterious place to find happiness. Along the way, they drink vodka, discuss the army, various life stories of the bandit, related to numerous murders, alcoholism of Matvey and his love for an actress. At the checkpoint, surrounding the anomalous zone, they are warned that they may not return. Immediately after passing the boom gate, the summer turns into a real winter. The bandit tells the girl that women are not allowed there, unless they are allowed naked, and they drop her off. Thinking a little, she undresses and stubbornly runs to her happiness. The heroes continue their way by car with deliberately emphasized ordinariness of what is happening. They are not surprised by either the change of seasons or the corpses on the streets, and even the arrival at the end of the road causes them only a slight grumble about the need to dress in warm jackets in the middle of the night. They briefly pick up inside the zone a lightly dressed teenager, in whom the musician recognized a participant of a TV show, seen by him in the morning in the bar, who tells them prophetic things, the musician that they will take him, the bandit that they will not take him, Matvey's that they can take him, but he will not go, and his father that they would take him, but he will not make it. Meanwhile, the abandoned Luba searches for her way to happiness. She waits out the bad weather in a ruined temple, sleeps in the straw, and goes to the light of the bonfire. When they meet, the bandit apologizes for his joke and takes off a jacket from one of the nearby corpses to warm Luba up. The group continue to discuss news stories, religion, and other things. Luba goes to warm up in the car and finds out that Matvey's father is dead. Everyone leaves except Matvey. He stays to dig a grave for his father with an axe and a spade, next to which he lies in the snow. At dawn, along the frozen river, the heroes come to the very Bell Tower of Happiness. Luba and the musician enter and disappear in a flash of light, but nothing happens with the bandit and he returns outside, where another person sits. He introduces himself as the movie director and suggests they go to the church, maybe they will take them from there. Nothing happens in the church, and they return to the chapel. As they sit, the director begins to tell some story from his youth, but suddenly he convulses and dies. The bandit steps over him and enters the chapel again with a screaming too, after which he also falls dead.